Start streaming. Okay, YouTube is live, I think. YouTube is live. YouTube is live. Excellent.
Oh, I actually got a notification for this one.
Twitch slightly dead, but Twitch is now back to life. Okay, right. I'm going to give everyone a bit more time to trickle in because, yeah, stuff is going a bit poorly. Right, so is Caster Labs connected to YouTube? We'll see. We'll see. That'll probably... Yeah, I'm just gonna give okay, so there's one viewer over on Twitch. Okay, there's one viewer over on... There's no viewers over on YouTube. I know how to count. See, this is what I get for listening to bats. Oh, Ijo. You're making you're customizing a map for your upcoming City Skylines 2 project. That sounds like it could be a fun stream. Yeah, except yeah. Right, so let's open up the editor while I wait for everyone to start showing up. Let's see how good... Okay, so YouTube delay is YouTube delay. Twitch delay is... Twitch delay is marginally better. Okay, right. So I'm not going to do too much, because then people will complain that I'm still setting up the stream. Because I am setting up the stream. Currently, we've managed to fix most, probably, of the bugs. Hopefully. Now we are waiting for the viewers. We need the viewers. That's a critical part of setup. Specifically Bats, because he said that this would be a fun idea for a stream, and yeah. This is his fault. He has to deal with it. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I'm gonna get rid of the backup YouTube stream because I don't think I need that. Do I need that? Well, it hasn't broken anything by getting rid of it. And it didn't work anyway. Loafiverse, hi! Hello. Now I finally have a working stream. This is great. Are things a bit dull? Maybe, but you know that's because this is still the setting up stream bit, and I've realized I've made a slight error that I'm going to need to deal with. So very cloud. Yeah, there are loads of clouds. So just to show the issue, which I've messed with the new Letitia map a bit, but wait, no. Yes, I think so. Because you probably don't know what's going on here, Loaf, and because I don't think you've ever played City Skylines, so I'm trying to customize one of the default maps, because here's one I was working on earlier. This is, I think, the River Delta map, but I've just been messing with stuff a bit. Yeah, you only play Minecraft. Okay, so yeah, ignore the terrain that's going on here. I was trying to get some stuff worked out. So the problem I have with the default terraining for City Skylines 2 is that the slopes really are sort of a bit steep, is one of the things, and the base infrastructure I've pretty much entirely bulldozed and started afresh from, but like there was this big highway with like 3 lanes in each direction, big divided highway going across the map, and I don't really want to have that, actually. Like over here, this was a proper grade separated intersection. There were a whole bunch of big bridges. I don't really want to have that. I want to have sort of a simpler map. And there are some great maps that modders have made for City Skylines 2. I do not have quite that level of technical ability. This is a bit of the map that I tried to fiddle with myself. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. Though that, to be fair, that is the bit where I gave up on. Like, this is a bit where I made slightly more of a serious effort, but it's still not ideal. But the one issue I really have is, I said browser, let's pull up some railways, because then I can have like terrain view. So the one issue I really have is these slopes. Like, yes, the game will let me place a railway with a slope of like, where was it? There was a bit with 6%, with the slope of like 6%. But in actuality, if you built a railway with a slope of with a 6% grade, there would be issues. So I don't want to do that. What I want to do is take all of this terrain and just about halve it, which I have technically done. Except I've only done the terrain within this red box because I was taking the game map, and in Crit I just used one of the filters to like halve the color scale, I think. I forgot what the actual thing was. But I've just realised that I also need to do that with... Hang on. Let me open up the terrain option. Let me close things. Let me open up the terrain option again. Okay, we're not doing great here. Okay, I also need to... So I've exported the height map for the area, that the actual buildable area. But I might want to have, you know, all of this cool worlds to look out from, because otherwise the city's just going to abruptly end, and then there's going to be void. So I need to quickly export the world map from here. And I'm going to export it, and I am going to call it, custom... this is a terrible name. Don't name things like this. Custom world map. Yeah, sure. You get to see what I name my files when I never want to see them again, as it turns out. So that's gone. I'm going to... Oh, do I need to... Okay, so I need to quickly exit to main menu. So I do need to exit to the main menu so I can reopen the editor. And while that loads, I'm going to go into my files. I think that should be in downloads. That may be in downloads. Downloads. That's not in downloads. Okay, so I'm going to deal with that in a mo. That's loaded anyway. Setting up stream is still there. Yes, that's because we are very much not... This stream isn't going terribly well, so spiritually, it's all sort of setting up. It's setting up for when I remember what the heck I'm supposed to be doing. So I take... Okay, so select from disk, local disk. I'm just going to quickly hide the scene. Yeah, I'm going to hide the game capture because I don't want you guys to just be snooping around in all of what I call my personal files. Hang on. Local disk. Users. Me. Downloads. I hate my naming system. I hate my naming system. Okay, so I'm... Free sample of my downloads folder. I did a great job with naming stuff. New Lutetia. New Lutetia 1. New Lutetia Final. This is great. This is great. Yeah, YouTube has good emojis. I never use them because I don't really use YouTube emoji much, but they are good. So now we have slightly lower hills, which is a bit disappointing, but I'm not too fussed. There's going to be some world building for, like, where this is, but I don't think I really need giant hills for my city. It would be nice, but I can't work out in Krita how to have, like, all of the colors up to here. I want to half the scale, and then I want to take these bits and just sort of drop them a bit, but still keep the output the same as the input. Now I should open up Critter so I can actually get the right words. But I also need... So I think if I go to... No. I go to Steam. I go to Manage, Browse Local Files. And then if I go through the data... No? That's my mods. I know where this is. So I'm currently trying to find the world map I exported from the previous map, because that was all world map done by Colossal Order, the people who the devs for City Skylines 2, because that was a default map. And you know what? I don't want to do an entire map on my on my own. That's why I'm just customizing an existing one. Very heavily customizing, yes, but still basically customizing an existing map. Let me just Google something very quickly. Cities Skyline 2, how to make custom... That's not how you spell map. That's still not how you spell map. Required yada 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 yada. Water sim speed. Maps, world maps. Users, app data. Okay, right. This PC. No. C dash users. So I'm gonna go from C:\/ users. File. New window. No, I don't want quick access. I used to be able to find... Search and quick access. There we are. And for username, I am of course going to type in my username. But for those of you following along at home, you probably have a different username. Do I remember what my username on this computer is? No, because I just log into it, and that's that. Which, I mean, local disk. Local disk users... I was putting in the right address. Okay, right. Users... Where's the folder? Games? It's not the games folder that I have. It's users something... I remembered how to do this before, but now I don't, and now this is just really awkward because this isn't going as well as I would have hoped. That's not it. That's a QGIS folder, which I have, or not a folder, it's a project, but it's a file. Music, OneDrive, saved games, searches. just start... No. I don't understand why my games has Terraria. I'm just not going to ask what the My Games folder is, because it's not my games. It's different games. It has... I mean, I have Terraria. It has Civ 7, which I don't have. Why? I don't know. I have some random songs. Why? Because I was working on them. They're within a different folder. Okay, so my my computer's storage may slightly be a mess. I have 2 documents files, one of which is empty. Why do I have 2 documents files? I don't know, I just goofed something up at some point, and now I have 2 of them. I'm not going to deal with that on stream, because that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to do a different thing. Look, don't ask any questions about any of the stuff that's going on my computer. It's just all really poorly done. I haven't even messed with that much. I just my feeling is I just sort of extrude this aura of mess that extends to all of my stuff, regardless of what I do. So it's just sort of... Oh, hey, here are the files on my computer. I have 2 documents files. What? Or 2 documents folders. Why? I don't know. I didn't add one. I'm pretty certain that Windows 10 doesn't come with 2 documents folders. So why are there 2? What I probably did is I goofed up something at some point and then just never realized. Where's the world? I'm still trying to find the world map that I exported some time ago. That's not going well. So we're going to quickly change tack. So the default sea level is supposed to be apparently 511 meters, which leads to a rather interesting effect of this entire map will be surrounded by a wall of ocean. Except for this one corner here. This one corner here which barely pokes up above water. I don't think we want to do though. I think we want sea level to be a bit more reasonable. So we're going to take this down to 52. Let's look at all the terrain. This looks a bit more flooded than it should be. This looks practically fine, but I'm not too happy with it. So I think how the map usually is, these are supposed to be above water, and I don't think that the sea pokes quite so far into this inlet. So I'm going to say, why don't we have this at 50? We'll see what happens. Okay, so we've made some progress. This area is now a bit more above water. See, the secondary problem is that there's also a river, and I'm going to need to deal with water spawning from this river as well. So I'm not sure if this sea level is lower than it should be, or if this is in fact supposed to be above water and I'm just... Or this is supposed to be below water and I'm just misremembering. See, looking at this doesn't help much neither, because I never look at this corner of the map, so I'm not sure if this is supposed to be... No, I think I remember this. I think this isn't supposed to be a swamp. I think this is also supposed to be generally above the level of the water. So each of these lines represents 1 meter, I think. So if I want that to be above water, I want probably a sea level of 45 meters? Not 45R, just 45. And now that's above water. This area here is above water, which it's probably meant to be. See, there's a really easy way to work out where the water level's supposed to be, which would just be to open up open up the standard map and just pick the terrain, or just like go with the terrain tool and find the level that the water's at. Or heck, I should just open the water tool and see where it sets sea level. Okay, hang on. Brief detour while I save this. It's not going to be here and start new game. Good. It really shouldn't. I think I'm just going to call this custom map work in progress. We're going to save that. And I'm just going to give it a name of work in progress. And then all of that means I can't open it, but custom map work in progress. Okay, so let's open this one, which is the vanilla, now vanilla in quotation marks because of... Have I watched Attack on Titan? I'm going to be honest, I don't watch much. I have heard interesting things about Attack on Titan. I say interesting. Interesting sounds sort of ominous. Okay, so that's how they've done all this. That's at 96, that's at 74. Those are at heights. Okay, so those are all just filled in with various heights. That area I was looking at is here. See, Loaf, the problem is... YouTube delay is so long, and I just started talking about something completely different that I forgot what the question I asked you was. I have heard good things about Attack on Titan. I have also gotten minor spoilers for Attack on Titan, but the thing is, my memory's so bad that I still have that I still don't remember any of what those spoilers were. All I know is someone died. I don't remember who they are, and if I were to actually watch Attack on Titan, I would not remember that someone was supposed to die. So I could in fact watch... Yeah, so my stance on spoilers is generally, you know what, sure, I'll just watch this thing with spoilers, because I'm not going to remember the thing that I'm being spoiled on, so what do I care? Sea level is... Okay, I need to copy these stats. It's hilarious because someone dying means literally nothing in the show. I remember it was important that they died, not like in for the show, but like in terms of the tonality of the show. Almost everyone dies. Yeah, it's related to that in some fashion. Do I remember what? Yes, I'm starting to vaguely remember why that's important. But I'm not going to think about it anymore, because if I remember it, then I won't be able to watch Attack on Titan for probably months, because then I will have actively remembered the spoiler that will ruin the show. I need to copy those stats. So that's Seaflow strength is 0.010. Seaflow direction is 50.796, and sea level is 90, and I'm going to halve that. That's an easy number to remember. But I'm also going to be pulling up another thing, and I don't want to say, hey, chat, remember these 3 numbers, because yeah, there's one person in chat and we're having a different conversation, and you remembering it is probably just going to be you writing that down. So why would I make you have to do that when I could just write this down instead? 96 and 90.0, and that's the one I have to off. Right, okay, and while I'm here, actually, where are the what? Actually, while I'm here, let's. Yeah, there's water levels there. There's a water source there. Okay, so there are just bonus water sources through this river, but there aren't so many as. There aren't terribly many, which is interesting, because while trying to get this to work, I've noticed that this is... Hi. Can I see stats on you? Water source. Right, so I want to copy all of these... W, Johnson, sea level, no cap, G. I know sea level. I recognize all parts of that string of characters. And I know sea level is pertinent here. Yes, W. It's the 22nd letter of the alphabet. Z is 26th. Y is 25th. X is 24th. W. It's the 23rd letter of the alphabet. Right? Z, Y, X, W. Yes, it's the 23rd letter of the alphabet. It's one of the letters towards the back end of the alphabet where there are things that score you lots of points in Scrabble. It's in words like word and look, stop distracting from the main points. I recognize sea level in that string of characters. What the heck is going on with the rest of them? Okay, you're trying to distract me from this point, and this point is very important. I'm also realizing I should probably... Okay, so that's like 0. I'm also realizing I should probably, like, copy down all of these values. And this might be a thing that I need to pull up, like, a spreadsheet for. IDK either Lauk, sometimes you just gotta whip out the sling, ka. The English language is truly a fascinating thing, isn't it? Not that browser. That browser doesn't have any of my Google accounts signed into it. So I'm slowly migrating from Firefox to LibreWolf because Firefox is starting to incorporate AI stuff. I'm going to butcher that name. Hello, new viewer over on YouTube chats. Yeah, welcome to the least put together stream that you will potentially ever watch. I didn't mean to open Google Slides, I meant to open Google Sheets. Yeah, like, I do not like 3 viewers. That's... Where's third? I think third is just lurking. 2 viewers. I think we scared Akshit Gujar off, unfortunately. So, see, what are the 3 things? Oh, no, they're different. Okay, height, radius, pollution. Height. Ah, shit. I'm trying not to pronounce that in a fashion that would be rude, that would form a rude word, but it's also meaning that I'm butchering a name that is not, that I don't know how to pronounce because it's not even vaguely related to any of my cultural background, and I feel very bad about that. Height and radius and location for where these water sources are. So there's Lake 00, which is a height of 7.842. I'm going to quickly insert 1 column left. I'm doing this on my laptop. Really, I should be streaming this spreadsheet for the optimal viewing experience. I should be streaming hang on. I should be streaming this spreadsheet so that you can see what's going on. That's a sentence that's never been said before. Yeah, like, the thing is, on the no. I can stream the spreadsheet, I think. If I go over here, Google Sheets. Sign in. See, Loaf, I understand about half of your sentences, and then after that it gets a bit confusing. However, I do want to talk about this browser version of Minecraft, because the only browser version of Minecraft I know is that browser version of, like, one of the, not even inf devs, I think, like, the first Minecraft version they made. Don't want display 1.8.8. I have never heard of a browser version of 1.8.8. It works. Well, the... I can't remember. I think it's classic. It's like the first version of Minecraft released. That one also works. It's just because it's the first version of Minecraft released, it's called WAP or something. Interesting. Create new. What do I want to call this? I'm just going to call this spread sheet. I'm going to spell spreadsheet correctly, even, which is a novel and innovative concept. Oh, right. So you are spreadsheets. I'm going to hide the setting up stream text because I think that we can safely say we aren't quite setting up stream anymore. Yeah, I'm streaming a spreadsheet. This is thrilling stuff. Water source info. Especially because I'm not entirely certain. If I search Minecraft 1.8.8 awesome, you can play Minecraft on browser and even Bed Wars. Ooh. Okay, so the spreadsheet is because it's the wrong window. There we are. The spreadsheet is because there are a bunch of water sources on this map, and I was going to just eyeball the water sources and just fiddle around with things until they looked good. However, I've realized that I could be my favorite thing, which is lazy, and not do that. And instead, I could just copy the info for these water sources, as well as, like, a rough idea of their location. And then I can just have the same water sources set up on my map, so I don't need to do this so I don't need to come up with my own water sources, unless, like, I do a lot of tweaking on the map, which, to be fair, I probably will, so I might need to come up with custom water sources anyway. But if I save myself a bit of time and just say, right, let's have... Which water source are we looking at currently? Water source 00, or lake 00. This is on... This is the only water source on an island. So I'm just going to... Water source info. Right, hang on. Source... Name? Purpose of this game is, yes, it is to build a city. However, I wanted to customize the terrain a bit first. So... This stream, not building a city. This stream, doing random nonsense. Largely, somewhat boring nonsense. But this is the sort of episode 0 for a series I want to do, which is just, like, a fun city building thing. Actually, one of the things I wanted to do was come up with world building, because I could just say, right, this city exists in relation to absolutely nothing else. But also, I want to make a city that exists in relation to other things. But if I say, right, so this city is in the real world, then that seems sort of dull. Like... If this is a city that you could drive to from wherever you happen to live, or if you lived on a different continent, you could fly there, then I don't know. There's sort of a... I don't want to just plop something into the world, because then there's the sort of disappointing thing of, well, I can't actually drive there. Or fly there, or swim there, or walk there, or take a train there. Anyway, there's the sort of disappointing thing of, well, I can't actually go to this city. I'm claiming that it is something you could feasibly just go to, but it's not. So my brain wants to come up with a lot of overcomplicated world building, mostly so I can say this is in Western Connecticut on the shore of Lake Erie. Why? Because there is a world in which Western Connecticut could have meant on the bank of Lake Erie because of the Connecticut Western Reserve, which I know sounds daft, but Connecticut Western Reserve. Just for context about my insanity here. So for a bit, Connecticut was laying 4 people watch. It says 3 people for me now. I think I scared them off by mentioning the Connecticut Western Reserve. So for a bit, Connecticut was claiming like the northern half of Pennsylvania, and like a bunch of land all the way out to the. Yeah, I'll tell you about this after you reset your Wi-Fi. In the meantime, I can start setting up my spreadsheets. Source name. What are the other things? Height, radius, and I don't need pollution. Height, vanilla, height, halved, radius. Actually, let's. Can I move you? Can I move you? I cannot move you. Okay, cool. Location is Big Island. We'll come up with a name for that later. Its height is 7.842. And its radius is 50. Right, is this enough information for an autofill to... Yes, okay, that is enough information for an autofill to extract from. And that's... 7 total rivers. And then 8, 9, 10, 11... Or 7... 8 total lakes, because we're counting from 0. And then there's... River 08, River 09, grab you and autocomplete, thank you. I love spreadsheets, they make life so much easier. And if you're thinking, oh god, I hope this entire stream isn't a spreadsheet, don't worry, the rest will be worse. But you also really wouldn't enjoy a potential Transport Fever 2 video, because I will just play Spreadsheet Simulator at a certain point, because why wouldn't you? That's what you're supposed to do with Transport Fever 2, right? Probably. This is a height of 20.236 and a radius of 50. Need a name for this area. Okay, right, so Lake 1, 20.236 and 50. 20.236, 50. 50. Postal 1. See, on the one hand, I like these pawns. On the other, I think I might change them a bit. Interesting. That makes sense, but it's still interesting. Huh. Which one are you? So that's 5. 5, I actually... You're back. Like 05. So, I'm thinking... I'm not entirely certain about these pawns. I like them. I like some nice pawns. However... I think I could have something else here, and it would do just as well. And it would also mean that I don't need to come up with identifying features for 3 extra pawns. I could probably get rid of these 2. I don't know. I could do something. I could have like a slightly smaller inland pond. Don't know. We'll have something there, I think. But not exactly this. So I'm going to skip pond 2, 3, and 4. And we're just going to go direct to 5, which I do like. And that's... We're going to call this triangle pond, because it's not shaped like a triangle. Four viewers were... No, it's up to 5. Shockingly. I guess people really enjoy me just opening up a spreadsheet. There's it's great. So the height is 21.113 and the radius is 30. Lake 6. You I like. Whacky. Oh yeah, and you've got like some cool standing stones that I'm going to have to place by hand. Weird lake in River Bend. What are my PC specs? I'm going to be honest, I don't remember off the top of my head because one of my friends gave me advice on what to get and what the design of this should be. And also I don't want to pull up the numbers off the top of my head, but it's a decent... It's a fairly decent tower. It's not like a NASA supercomputer, but it's also not... It's not a potato. It's actually... No. Knowing what a NASA supercomputer is, yeah, it is beefy enough to run City Skylines 2, and City Skylines 2 is a somewhat it can be a very intensive game. It's not it like you could run it on you can't run it on a laptop. I tried to run it on a laptop. It did not like that. No part of the experience was enjoyable for anyone. In short, yeah, no, it's strong enough to run this game, and I don't remember exact numbers beyond that. Small pond. I like this pond. I'm going to keep this pond. It's going to be like a duck pond or something when I get... No, that's too big for a duck pond. That's not the scale of this game. Those are trees. A duck pond would be probably like twice the size of this boulder. This is a pond for a very large duck. And height and radius are 15,321 and 34,313.321 and 4.313. Anyway, so I think one of my inspirations for lore is coming up with like a weird alternate history in which it makes sense to have this town, because I'm going back to the lore that I was mentioning earlier, because of course I must at all junctures overcomplicate small projects as much as possible, because if I don't, it's no fun. Must be there needs to be lore behind this goofy little city that I'm going to build eventually once I finish the map. This is the headwaters of the river. So my thinking was I want to play around with the the northeastern pack that was... Oh! Oh, you have to go... We'll buy a loaf. Thank you. GC... Group chat. Have fun with your group chats. Anyway, for anyone remaining who's watching, my idea for lore was, why don't I have something in which the Connecticut Western Reserve exists? Because, you know, everything needs to be horrendously overcomplicated and have silly little details. Because if I don't, then where's the fun? Where's the joy? Where's the whimsy? There's other things beyond whimsy. But also part of my thinking was, hey, if I have this as like Connecticut Western Reserve, then A, I have good justification to play around with City Skylines 2's... City Skylines 2... Yeah, no, that's where you'd put the apostrophe S to indicate this is possessive tense. I largely want this to be a northeastern themed city, and well, all the places along the coast of the northeast are already notable places, I feel, because you have like the northeast corridor going along that. It's like part of the Boston, Washington, DC megalopolis. So if instead I put this like in one of the flyover states, then anything could be going on in there. I don't know what's going on in there. This is not near New York. It's going to look like New York, but it's not actually New York. So I can claim I can claim it's anything. What was I doing? River 09 I'm gonna skip over. I think I can just have something else there. This is the long way around the bend. Way round island. And that is a height of 13.004 and a radius of 27.328. So, 7.328. And this is the... yeah. This we will call the headlands, because that is sort of a headland. And the height is 21.786. The radius is 37.394. Okay, and then heights. We just take C2 over 2. And yeah, we autofill those, and we delete you, and you, and you, and you. Because those are the ones we're ignoring. And I think that's everything. There are like a bunch of animal spawners. But those I'm just going to... the animal spawners I'm just going to place in manually. Those I really can just freehand. Where's okay, so if I now load map, load my custom map, all unsaved progress will be lost. But that's fine because my unsaved progress is nil. I didn't save anything because that wasn't the main project. So... water. Sea level? Bang on, absolutely correct. It's the one thing I don't have in that chart. First number, seaflow strength. Be 0.010. All of the synonyms for zero. Seaflow direction 50.796. So I assume that's a vector quantity, or not a vector quantity. I assume that's like for the direction of the vector of I assume that that number is a number relating to an angle of some sort. So probably off the zero, it's saying that ocean is going to this outlet here, I would imagine. Yeah, no, that's not quite 50 degrees. Center of the map, there's a 45, so it would be going to there. Okay, so I guess the sea flow direction, I'm assuming because it's a direction, it's because it's a direction, because it's a quantity for something that sounds like a direction, I'm just assuming that this is degrees off of the normal, because that's how I label that, to be honest. Let's pop in a water source here. Let's locate this object. Turn on the ability to rename them. This is... I need a name for this river. Big River. That's a terrible name for a river. We're not going to keep that. We're definitely not going to keep that. So that should have... Because I'm halving the height. This is the headwaters. So I assume I don't want the height to be like... I'm going to try copying that. And I'm also going to copy the radius, just so I can see what does it look like at that height. Yeah, so if I hover over, like, the corner of that, then I see how high the water's trying to go. Right, okay, so I do need to halve the height. That's absurd. That is a truly terrifying river. Are there rivers that wide? I'm not even sure. Are there rivers that wide? This, however, seems much more reasonable. Now, of course... because the map slopes downwards gradually, it should, given a great enough flow, fill up pretty much all of the map. But that's not going to happen because it slopes downwards, and ideally, because this is the number, or this is the number from the actual map, this should sort itself out and maintain a decently reasonable elevation. So while that's doing that, I'm just gonna crank up the water speed a bit. For anyone still watching, no, your stream is not lagging. Turning water speed simulation up to 64 is just a bad idea. What do I have now? I am trying to work stuff out. Games updated. So there aren't too many people currently watching, so I think I can just shunter to myself a bit and try and work out where that file has gone. Actually, if I just search the entirety of my PC for world map, I forgot what I called it. Yeah, that river is just rivering. It's having a grand old time. It's going to kill my PC. Because, you know, my PC should be able to handle it. It's going to keep my place lovely and warm, though. And if we wait for that to load... gonna go crank the simulation speed down a bit. I'm gonna put that at like 8 because I can hear. I have very quiet fans. I can hear them complaining. They're pretty decent fans. They can stay relatively quiet for cooling fans. They're still not having a good time. They are very much not having a good time. I need to be careful. I don't want to die. I don't want to catch. I don't want to catch my PC on fire. That would be very bad. Wow, that loads. That's still loading. That's terrifying. That is truly terrifying. World map. Right. Those are not what I was looking for. Can I... Frame inspector. Okay, so let's open that up. Custom world map. So I want to take that. I want to find out where that custom world map is. I don't remember where that file is. I truly do not recall in the slightest. I'm trying to work out if this is old. To location. That's 10 years ago. That's not helpful. It's 11 years ago, not even 10 years ago. That's a good search result. That's a helpful search result. I'm going to go insane. This is a new career choice.
Desktop. PC. Documents. It's not that documents folder. It's not the downloads. It's not the pictures. It's not the music. It's not the 3D option. Not Skype. Steam? That isn't right. That's not where I want to be. No. Oh, bats! You actually frightened me with thoughts. I don't know why. You said jump scare. That actually frightened. Do I know why? No. That's what I've been saying. I have no clue. But apparently I'm just easily frightened. Cognito hazard. Yeah, exactly. Can I just... There we are. Okay, so... Oops. Why do you see Google Sheets? Because I am causing my own suffering. So let me open up the Google Sheets. It's not that bad. So I'm trying to customize this. I'm trying to customize this map. I've now frozen. Let me go back to Launcher. So I'm trying to customize this. Hello. Obvious spam. You're just straight up being banned. Goodbye, obvious spam. So, what I'm doing here is I'm taking one of the default maps from City Skylines 2, and I'm just editing it. Well, not a bit. Currently, I'm editing it a bit. Eventually, I will be editing it a lot because, you know, I want to have trees, and how I've done this, I've gotten rid of all the trees, which could be construed as less than ideal, but, you know, who really needs trees anyway? I've just realized I could probably have kept the trees if I did this in a more cunning order. And I wouldn't have to place them all again. So, what I've done here is I've made a terrible mistake in which I am going to have to remake the entirety of this map by hand. Because I wanted to just, like, half the change in elevation.
Because you see this. It doesn't look too imposing, but this looks like a semi-realistic change in elevation, right? There are some cool hills here. They're not the tallest of hills, but you wouldn't expect a hill to sweep up very quickly unless it was a big old mountain. In the standard vanilla map, the hills sweep up very quickly because they're a big old mountain. And all of the changes in terrain height are like twice the scale. I'm not importing assets, I just clicked on the wrong thing. So if I pull out, say, a railway track, and I'm just going to pull on terrain. So this slope is like, it's a 4% grade. In the base map, this is like an 8% grade, which is very harsh and makes trying to do grading, or at least realistic grading, very difficult. And so then, if you're trying to work with the terrain, your two options are everything looks kind of off, because City Skylines famously doesn't deal with slopes very well. Your options are either, well, I'm gonna have to deal with it, and then stuff looks not great, or you pull the route of some of our mutual friends, Bats, and you just flatten literally everything. I don't want to flatten literally everything. I find flattening literally everything quite dull, actually. But if I have to flatten literally everything in order to have a functioning map, then I will have to flatten literally everything. So this is the alternative, which is instead of flattening literally, as mentioned, literally everything, I'm just going to half all of the terrain heights. And actually you can see this. If I go out of that, I pull up the terrain map. If I import this world map, this is the base world map that this map is supposed to be working with, right? You see, there's sort of a disconnect. Things look slightly off, and if I pull this all up, you see that the water seems pretty... But I have questions about where you live and if Euclidean geometry applies there. Like, I don't want to be too invasive, but also, this looks normal to you. This looks perfectly fine. Never heard of it. Pretty. I mean, this explains many things, actually. So, yeah. On the one hand, very cool mountains. On t'other, I don't want to try dealing with these mountains. Those are slopes. Those are serious slopes. The water seems to be handling that, and I'm not sure how. You've seen some cooler terrains in your backyard. You know, I should have just learned never ask you questions about your lived experiences. I should have just learned that by now, but apparently no.
let's show this file. These are your deaded experiences. Common misconception. But you can't keep being funnier than I am. Just telling the truth. But you're just straight up being funnier than I am. I'm too kind. What was I doing? I was just taking this filter, adjust, levels, realizing that levels was in fact the wrong button, filter, adjust, color adjustment curves, and we take the peak there, and we say, hey, you, let's become like half of that, and then I can copy that, and I can say okay, and then I can file, save, okay, and if I go, then I can't tell which is which, so I can go file, save as, or anyway, Bats, how are your new Silk Song videos going? No progress. Oh, terribly unfortunate. Stuck in editing? Or are you trying to wrap up your video so you get to like a nice point to end? Burnt out. Yeah. You didn't start editing, or because I know you've started working on a video because we were talking about it the other day. Because I was trying to work out how to, you have recordings. Oh, you have recordings for multiple episodes. Oh. Yeah. Well, I'm also going to have to deal with editing soon because I don't intend to stream all of this. I intend to stream very little of this, actually. I want most of this to be in videos. Because I feel like it will work out better if... Makes sense, yeah. Import world map, select from disk, select file. And now if I select this, you'll notice that nothing goes above one click in elevation anymore, which is a bit unfortunate, but it does make things look a bit more... It looks more natural for those of us more accustomed to the mortal plane, I assure you, Bats. Anyway, on that topic, if for anyone watching who has not seen, who is not already subscribed to the Bats Cove, I forgot what your YouTube username is. It's also Batskov. No, it's Batskov the second. Hey, no need for no. There's definitely a need for that. There's very much a need for that. Let's pull up. That's correct. Where's Twitch? Twitch in the background. I'm not using Twitch currently, but I'm gonna go put the links in like all the chats, so you can subscribe to. I pressed the home button. I'm already on YouTube home. We're doing great here. We're very on topic. Where the heck is Bats? Oh, it is just youtube.com/@Batskov. Just like, actually, do you have all of your Silk songs as a playlist? Yeah, you do. Okay, great. Just like, just watch, just watch Bats' videos. Just watch the entirety of his Silk song playlist. It's great. You have a very... Wait, no, check out this channel instead. How do I delete, like, a specific message? How do I delete a specific message in Twitch? Hang on. No deletes. Why can I not delete, like, Twitch? I should be able to delete, like, a specific message. Because I'm streaming and one of me mates is in the chat and I'm messing around with them. Like, that should be an option. It's disappointing that I can't just do that. What was I doing? So I have all of the height maps set out. Probably need some more rivers. I can take a river and I can put it like here. And this can be off map river. Hi, what are your numbers? Your numbers. Okay, so that needs to be... Huh. If I give you, like, the same stats as Big River, which were 33, 126. 33.0155. Oh, so I can have rivers that start off map and then just gradually float onto the map. That's cool. That is going to use up so much simulation that really I shouldn't be doing this. Or it's not going to use up simulation. You can't use up simulation. It's not like a product, but it's going to use up so much computing power for no purpose beyond it looks good. GPU explosion. I don't know how City Skylines 2 handles water physics. I'm not sure. I would assume that's a Actually, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is a GPU simulation or a CPU simulation, to be honest. Because I don't really know in which cases you would want either of them. To be honest, I'm not
really that tech savvy. But this seems like it would be a CPU thing instead of a GPU thing, because you need, like... Because it's not all, Oh, you planted a volatile fake GPU in my computer. Right. For legal reasons. This was in Minecraft. Yes, of course. Water sim speed. Let's crank that up to 8. I think this would be a CPU thing, though, because it's not a graphical... It's not wholly a graphical issue. It's also largely... It's also, to some degree, like, adjusting the positions for... where water is, but we'd probably need like techno, because I don't know. I assume you don't know. But techno, he knows what the difference is between the two and where each of them would be used. So I'm going to place this in the deepest spot, which is there. Pick you, yeah. Okay, so big island pond, and I'm gonna need like names for these. I think. Epic YouTuber technological support 3 dimensions. Can we ping him to like try and get him to? Is that a thing? No, that's not a thing. I can't ping someone who isn't watching my streams, which is probably for the best now I think about it. But all the same... What are the sets supposed to be for you? Big island. You... Nope, hang on. Let's escape out of that. Like, that pond is supposed to be smaller. And... yeah, the pond is supposed to be smaller, which would be because the water level is lower. And I think I do actually want that to be lower, so we'll... like, it's supposed to be a lot lower. That is, in fact, lower than that should be. Yeah, I'm just going to assume that that's good enough. What else do we need? There are some of those coastal lakes that I wanted to add back in. Hi, so there's one there. And the height on that, I think that's accurate. 20-ish. Got a height of 10, which is, yeah, that's what that's supposed to be, and the radius was 50, and the radius is 30, and it still does the job just as well. I'm not going to deal with all of these smaller lakes or more ponds really, because I think I'm going to want to change up the topography here a bit. I think for now I am going to have this big lake here. A triangle pond, I called it, and that's 10.545, and yep. Those both look about right. Oh, and then there's a weirdly shaped lake up here somewhere I want to have. The river slowly working its way down the map. What's the lowest point? That's actually a high point. This is the lowest point here. And that I think I do need to tweak a bit. 13 and 13 point. Yep. No, we need the actual height, which is not something I would have expected. We're taking no questions at this time, while I realise that I am, in fact, very stupid. Height. That one. Radius. Surprisingly 50. Now I'm a genius. I did just flood this entire area unintentionally, bats. This is not particularly symptomatic of a genius. Sometimes a little flood is good for the... Not really, in my experience. Generally, when you have floods, it just sort of kills all the grass. Because, like, yeah, water is good for grass, but too much water, not if it's the right grass. But, once again, the state of affairs in, wherever it is that you live is, seems to be quite concerning. I mean, yeah, like, there are some grasses that do well in water, like marsh reeds and stuff. But also, like, you can, more seriously, like, you can flood out most plants. It's not something that's usually very pertinent to your day-to-day life. Unless you live someplace where it rains a lot. Like, a lot. Well, unless you live someplace that has, like... a wet season where it rains very much. But, like, you can have too much water. That's...
That's how you get like crop failures and such. I'm rambling a bit. You will drink. Yeah, I have no doubt that you are in fact capable of such feats. Okay. I'm not sure if the correct thing to do right now would be to crank up the water sim speed and suffer through it for a bit. Bats, just follow. Bats, were you not following me on Twitch before, mate? Let's go. New follower. You did it. What did you do? You follow live _ EJO _ studios. And so should everyone else by going to... Hang on, what's my Twitch link? And so should everyone else by going to twitch.tv /live _ EJO _ studios and pressing the follow button, which is somewhere. I can't see it because I can't follow myself. It's not an option. You're slowly figuring out how Twitch works. Bats, you and me both. I'm also very slowly figuring out how Twitch works. I think you might be working out how Twitch works quicker than I. Just... You were pressing the Vietnam button before, not the full... Do I want to know what the Vietnam button does, Bats? No. I'll take your word for it. Don't take your... It's too late, Bats. I'm stealing them all. I'm stealing all your words. You will not be seltzered. You will not be seltzered, indeed. Where are the other locations I need? Waters, that's the way out. That's the long way round the island. I wish I had noted where, though. It's fine, you'll communicate through XAE 321 Photon Communication Standard. Hang on, I'm just going to Google something real quick. Okay, yeah, so it's what I would have thought. Right, cool. I just realised that one of the water sources is named Island. It's a lake. It's not an island. Yay! What's the yay? Let's go live on Bend Island. It's a lake. You don't want to live in it. Yeah, sure, Bats. Let's go live on the island. It's a good island. It's very friendly.
You know it's late when I agree to live in a lake. Yes. It is indeed very late in the evening, and things are not going as well as I might have hoped. Mostly because I do not, in fact, know how the water physics of this game works, and I also don't know what this lake is doing. So that water is just slowly flowing back. Does look a bit odd, but that's just an expected consequence of like mechanically that probably is evaporation, but doesn't awful look odd, does it? I think I've copied enough things from the spreadsheet. I'm going to go hide the spreadsheet layer if I can work out where OBS is. No longer need the spreadsheet layer. Gonna just kill that window. You can see more water now. Yeah. Wow. Where's water speed? Where water sim speed? If I up the game speed as well. Let's just quickly maximize simulation speed and see what happens. This could be a mistake. I'm gonna go watch what. Thank you for enabling the Google slideshow. Yes. This is what maximum water simulation speed looks like. It still looks like watching paint dry. Just, fewer frames. Watching water wet. Yeah, no, the opposite of watching paint dry, really. I suppose. Would be a bit of yeah, a bit of frames. Let's see how this area catches on. Ag. You trapped 100 people in my computer. I honestly think it might run a bit better if you had. Lost one to escape gets a free donut. You can. Indeed, you can, Bats. Those are words that you have in fact spelt them. Is proper past tense spelled or spelt? I can never remember. Even worse, I think that they're both correct. They just have different use cases. Spelled. Your neurons just turned into an orb. Is everything okay, Bats? That does sound rather concerning.
pondering the orb. Okay. Oy. Like the Palantir from Lord of the Rings, but you're using it to gather mass amounts of data. Oh, like the company Palantir from real life. Reference moment. Yeah. Though in the case of Palantir in real life, there's very, very much concerning company. I think I might keep that. Maybe I won't keep like that, like specifically as Bend Island. I might have like this island in the River Pend called Bend Island. But I might keep that name actually. It's a funny name. Bend Island has to be a lake. Yes, but I can't think of any world-building reason why people would do that other than to be contrarian. Or, like, maybe someone really goofed up on... Because there is, like, there is supposed to be a small island in that lake. It's just not there because I set the water level too low and I need to tweak that. It's like one of those phantom islands. Well... Let's make our frames existent. Well, like, the problem is the Phantom Islands are... This isn't a terribly large lake. It is somewhat more of a pond, really. What if Mouse named it? How do I change height? There. Oh. There we are. A little bit of whoop. Blah. And I... like... I could see a funny and somewhat practical thing being that, like, Bend Island is the name of the island, but just everyone also refers to the entire lake as Bend Island. Your bats, have you made another cult? You don't know what I'm... But see, the thing is, I think you kinda do. Place another water source there. And we're gonna shrink that down because that's excessive. Just want to keep the river filling up along its course. Yeah. Water source 22. You should pay attention to that. But if I didn't know better,
I'd think you were trying to change the subject away from a matter that you don't want to talk about. But I can't think of any reason why a dear friend of mine would ever try to do that. No, you don't talk. You use XAE321 photon arrays. It's almost like you don't... So you can't be changing the subject from something you don't want to talk about. Fine. It's almost as though you do not wish to communicate in your mythical, mystical, and eldritch fashions about a certain topic. And, you know, I just can't imagine why one of my friends would want to do that. After all, it's not as though you're a participant in a secret cult that one of you's made about me and then you refuse to let me join. Because no, that would be daft. Matskov, no, your communication is clear-cut and not eldritch. I'm only willing to go so far with you, Mats. For anyone watching the VOD on YouTube later, Bats is now repeating in all caps, I'm not Bend Island in a trench coat, I'm not Bend Island in a trench coat, I'm not Bend Island in a trench coat, etc. ad infinitum. Or ad infinitum. Just a very specific thing to say, let alone quite so many times as that. Fancy lingo. Sorry, that was a that was a cat. Your cat who just so happened to hit all of the keys to type. I am not Bend Island in a trench coat. In precisely the right word. It definitely wasn't you. Wait, you don't own a cat. You don't own a dog neither, Mats. Do you have any other scapegoats? The above three statements were typed by your pet turquoise. Yeah, no, that's canon now. One of your pets is just the color turquoise. That's canon now. True information. The river's going. I think I just... Hey, Ijo, you think my river's running, Bats? If anyone is lurking in any of the chats for this live stream, please say something. It's just Bats and I. And it's not that we're going mad, because we already were. So So let's continue working out this river then, Bats. So I think in order to have like a good flow, I want I think I need to have like extra little water sources at intervals roughly that long. So I think from source 22, the next one would be down here. If I place that, say, in this spot, and then we edit it, so that vacuums up water. This game has cool fluid mechanics. Yeah, until I go insane trying to work out how they work. Yeah. It's not a bit too extensive. I mean, these are really good fluid mechanics. It is apparently a marked improvement over the first game. But, like, the thing is, fluid mechanics are really difficult to program, aren't they? Like, if you want to do them well. Because it's very computationally challenging. It's very it will inevitably be rather resource intensive. At some point, I think I'm going to want to... Now that we're getting more towards places of the map that I have a strong idea for, I think that I want to start planning out what the map is going to look like as part of... Or what... Not what the map is going to look like. What the city is going to look like as part of the map-making process. Which is a bit bothersome. But it will be decently interesting. Because one of the things, and this is still related to water flow, actually, is that I kind of want this area here to, like, this little creek here, to mostly be a navigable river. Because in the base map, there's a fun little valley here, and I've dug it out a bit deeper than it was originally, because I feel like a fun little valley should have a fun little creek running through it. And I feel like this fun little creek should be mostly navigable. And by mostly navigable, I mean, like, you should be able to come in from the sea here. And ideally, you should be able to boat up a bit. Like, this should be water here. And then here, I want to have a really cool looking waterfall. I do think that putting in a full waterfall is probably a bit beyond the scope of map making. That's probably the sort of detailing work that I want to leave for the actual city. But I do want to do a decent amount in order to prep the site for being an eventual waterfall. Which is probably going to be a bit of a challenge. Yeah, you by watching this video, you are getting like a head start into what or not a head start, a behind the scenes look into what this city is going to be like. Top secret I mean, yeah, sort of top secret, not terribly top secret to be honest. But yes, top secrets, incredibly secrets. Very few people are privy to this sort of information. Middle pancake secret information. Yeah, that's probably where we are. Not too secret, but still, you are getting exclusive information that other people, they're not going to be privy to for a while. So this is starting to fill up rather nicely. I think I want to tweak this arrangement of islands here a bit, to be honest. And I also think that this river here needs to be beefed up, because I think I want one of these to be navigable, and I'm not sure which one, but whichever one ends up being navigable, it needs to be a bit broader. And I think similarly, this is going to be... That's going to be dredged to some extent, I think. And also that area. What's up with that? Which bit of this bit? Let's pull up the terrain view. It's just really weird. Honestly. Like, really, really weird. Island here. There's another island here. There's an island here. There's a bunch of small channels going between them. Now, seems cool. I don't really like it. Like, even in the vanilla map, this just looks... This is still very narrow, and it does not look right. And it looks even less right now when I'm struggling to get water flow correct. So I think a reasonable thing to do would be to take, say, that height. Maybe just like, slope down. And now this is going to look very ugly. And that's because I'm doing this in very rough strokes. And if I come in with like the smooth tool and smoothen that, and I can see that that still needs to be much broader than it is, and I actually probably want to just take that level, brush it out a ways, even just take that, slope that down like that. Funny sand thing. Oh, there's so many things that are funny sand thing bats, yeah. Actually, another thing I'm going to do is I am going to take this island and I'm just going to connect it up, because this little stream here, it's cool, it's not that cool. And I think I'll leave that actually pretty rough. And then when I actually build the city, I'm gonna tweak that a bit. But now I have a few more rivers. If I go to the asset browser, if I put in city. Can you actually have any? We're gonna ignore those. We're gonna ignore those. Those aren't important. What if we have 100% grade? I think technically you can't, because what grade? Yeah, you physically cannot. What percent grade is it's just you just built one. Okay, that's a wall. What grade is it's the angle of the slope over 90 degrees times 100%. So a 50% grade is a 45 degree angle. A 100% grade is just a straight. It's just a wall perpendicular to the earth. So, I'm actually curious. How close can you get with... You put a toll. You put a toll on a wall. Okay, I don't understand what percent grade is, because this is not... So I'm just going to anarchy this in. I mean, I'm not keeping this. Okay, so the words I was just saying, but 45 degrees over 45, or angle of slope over 45 degrees divided by... Bats, I'm not keeping this. I'm very much not keeping this. You cannot form emotional attachments to like a double black diamond of a road. Bats, please do not become emotionally attached to this. I've already had to keep Band Island. Fine, but we must increase Bend Island support. Sure. I am going to keep this while I'm building because it is funny. It's just, but I will have to get rid of this eventually. So actually, knowing that a 100% or 100% grade is just a 45-degree angle, so advice I've seen for building realistic railways, it doesn't get good enough grades. Yeah. So advice I've seen for building realistic railways is you want to stick to like a 2, maybe 3% grade, and that like 5% or more grade is excessive. Knowing that this is, for context, what 100% grade looks like, it's just a 45-degree angle. 2% grade is really not that steep. That's... Oh, it's also rise over run. For every meter you go up, you need to go across 50 meters. That's probably a more helpful way of thinking of it. Just rise over run times 100%. I 0.9 degree. Yeah, yes it is. So like it's less than a 1 degree slope. Actually, I have seen in other contexts discussion that like a 4% grade would be acceptable for a rail project, but like that's a rail project using solely EMUs. So like which of course makes sense. You can have realistic looking slopes that are higher than yada 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 yada, however many degrees. I'm going off topic again, but that's because I'm currently trying to work out this, which is going well. So I think I've made enough of a dent in scoping out the general shape of the water that I want to move on to other aspects of this project. So we are going to do just thoughts, and we are going to do just that by looking at all of these islands here and saying that I like exactly 0 of them. Why? Because, to be frank, it's a lot of build area for this town that is just like Bend Island. I forgot what Bend Island was for a sec, and then I remembered. So I don't like these islands because these are not a substantial amount of the buildable area of this map, but it is some of it. And that's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm not like wholly on board with No, to be honest, I just don't like this delta. Like, the original map is named River Delta, and all of the deltas are a critical thing. I don't like the deltas. Like, to be honest, they're just excessive. So make it River Alpha. No, that sounds like some sort of weird tech bro thing. Shall have cooler islands, like Bend Island. Bats, I feel like we're getting a bit off topic. We'll call the whole map Bendland. Okay, then I'm just going to get sued by City Planner Plays. For copyright. Then I'm just going to get a copyright strike from City Planner Play. For reference, that's City Planner Plays is a City Skylines YouTuber who made a custom map based off of the same map I'm working with here. The reason I'm not using his map is because it doesn't do the things I want the map to do. But yeah, his town name is, well, the key town name is Bend. There are other towns. No. Well, like, we can have Bend Lake, and no one will be any the wiser. But if we take it too far, then, like, people might work it out. Above 100 messages transmitted by your... Bats, why is your toaster transmitting messages? But you can't just say your toaster wants out as though that explains matters. Trust me, it very much does not. How does your toaster want out? Why does your toaster want out? Explaining will only weaken this. You have to feed them. It's silly hours, isn't it? I've just looked at the clock. It is very much silly hours. You know what? I like these little islands. I don't like this little island. This little island didn't make the cut. Nice work. I meant to do that, Bats. I meant to do that. And I did it very well, thank you very much. It's a bit of, like, bit dull, but they can't all be winners. And why do I need that much definition for a lake bed anyway?
Let's see which other island. I do not need all of these islands here. You disappear, you're attending the salad canteen. Yeah. That's alright, Bats. I'm flagging a bit myself. This may not have been quite so interesting of a stream idea as I may have originally envisioned. Oh, let's sort all of this out as well. Thank you. Just EB. Yeah. It is the end of the week for you. That is sort of expectable. I think I'll need to come up with like a stream schedule and actually stick to it. And that does probably entail finishing off my Hollow Knight series as well. Impossible stream schedule? No one could ever have scheduled streams. That's just madness. The human brain just isn't designed to be able to cope with. Merry Squarentine, and Merry Squarentines to you as well, dear friend. I've gone Victorian apparently. Oy. Let's see. How many of these items do I need? I think once again I am going to buff out the terrain a bit. Like I think these small islands need to go. Those small islands we keep because like they're fine. These somewhat larger islands we don't keep because I don't have a practical idea for them. You no flatten.
Right, given that everyone else seems to have disappeared, and also that it's silly hours, and this is in fact a lot duller than I had thought, I'm gonna wrap up the stream here, and you're probably not going to see this return until I release an actual video on it. But I will be making things before then. Do not fear. Hollow Knight streams are returning. When? I don't know. I'm not actually sure when would be best for my schedule on a reliable and repeatable basis. But Hollow Knight, it's coming. It's happening. Definitely. I'm just gonna wrap up the stream here because I don't think anyone who I watch is streaming still. Yeah. No. Yeah. Bye. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, and this series will be more interesting eventually. I swear. Stop streaming. Stopping the stream.